This is episode 73, and today we're talking about fashion and how Supreme sold his company to the VF Corporation and the legal implications that it has and how fashion designers should be inspired by that simple act alone. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Today we're talking about fashion law. I talk about fashion relatively frequently. I've done quite a few videos on fashion, and this is an update to the fashion law industry. Supreme, the big brand Supreme, the urban lifestyle brand Supreme, recently sold for over $2 billion to the VF Corporation. And that is pretty huge because in the aspect of a global pandemic, it shows you that brands is what lasts. And it takes a long time to build a brand. From my reading, the guy who created the brand Supreme started in 1994. So 26 years of just grinding every single day. He turned it in from literally nothing to a $2 billion company. And if he can do it, why can't you do it? The question you have to ask is, are you willing to dedicate potentially 25 years every single day grinding, working on it, mastering your craft, networking, spend every single day on it for 25 years? Are you willing to do that? A lot of people say they may be willing to do it, but they may not be willing to spend 25 years on a brand, particularly when it means nothing. Because I'm pretty sure when he started out, the brand Supreme, people like, well, what is this? Okay, Supreme, like it doesn't appear to be anything supreme about it, but outside of the words. Okay, it was just words on a T-shirt and skateboards and things such as that. But he worked on it, he built on it, he branded it. A brand pretty much is just quality and consistency over a long period of time. Sounds simple, but it's not necessarily easy to do. But let's talk about the deal. It's M&A contract. That's just multiple mergers and acquisition. Pretty much, the VF Corporation, they own a lot of brands, and they say we're going to buy the Supreme brand. Supreme is a lifestyle brand. When you look at the ad Supreme, I kind of say there's a lot. It's important to have a lifestyle, and it's an urban streetwear brand. So a lot of the pictures of the individuals in Supreme are on the street. They're on the street. It's a streetwear brand, so they're not necessarily behind an infinity wall. Now you do see some of that. You do see some of that, but I think the majority of their pictures are on the street. It's a streetwear brand, it's an urban brand, so they're in cities and stuff like that. And if you want to have a streetwear brand, this is the best time ever to have a streetwear brand, because you see like these things are luxury items. You see Off-White, that's a streetwear brand, that's luxury. Supreme, these are luxury items. You see these, and they have what they quote unquote urban streetwear brands, however you want to define that definition. But it was, as I mentioned, it was a merger and acquisition by the VF Corporation. They own quite a few brands, and I guess from a legal perspective, there probably was a letter of intent. We're going to buy your company for this amount. Letter of intent pretty much is a summary of the legal terms and the money and the percentage of it, and then there probably was a purchase agreement and many of them, shareholder agreement, things such as that. We don't necessarily know the full details of it yet, but I'm pretty sure it will come out. All the details, like in-depth details, will come out because VF Corporation is a public company traded on the stock market. And once you trade on the stock market, particularly in the New York Stock Exchange, you have to pretty much disclose everything. And they're going to disclose that, and that'll be known to the public. And they have to fit under regulations of the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, which is a powerful entity in the United States. So that's some from a legal implications of it. And they also probably had a due diligence aspect. They're probably still doing due diligence. There's probably, as I mentioned, there's legal due diligence and there's a business due diligence. So legal due diligence is pretty much as you're looking at the contracts. You're looking at for example, you're looking at intellectual property. Is it branded? Is it trademark? There's a big controversy in Europe about Supreme brand because they failed to register it, to copyright their trademark, their brand. They failed to trademark the brand in Europe. So a lot of people are using the brand Supreme in Europe, and it's not the actual real Supreme company in the United States, and they're selling it at an extremely discounted rate than what the real Supreme is selling. But also something to learn from a legal standpoint. If you're going to trademark it, make sure you trademark it not only in the U.S. but also globally as well. Particularly if you want to be a global fashion house, a fashion brand. They're checking the contracts. They're checking with the contracts between the shareholders. Or the contracts between the vendor, because he has multiple stores, the leasing contract. They're checking every single contract from top to bottom. They're checking to see does this company even exist through the government? Does it actually physically exist on papers is it organized in Delaware. Global Law Media is organized in Delaware. It's a Delaware limited liability company. So because I have plans to take this global. I mean, I have pretty cool things we're going to announce in 2021. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But that's my plans for it. We're going to take it global because I named it Global Law Media for a reason. But nevertheless, it gives you pretty much all the legal aspects of it. They're gonna dot every T, cross every I to make certain that what they're buying is actually what they're buying. And also the financial due diligence, that make sure the numbers add up. Is the numbers that you say actually make sense? We're gonna do a financial due diligence. We're gonna do a forensic accounting on every single number and make certain that we're actually buying the number we're giving you, the price we're paying for it. We're making sure this is adequate value for that. I mean, there's many other things, but it also goes to the overall thing of organic growth versus, I guess, growth through acquisition. And VF Corporation chose to do growth through acquisition because it's very difficult to do organic growth. It's very difficult to start a company from zero into something just huge. It's very difficult and very, very rare, particularly because, I mean, I know at least in the U.S., 90% of all businesses fail in their first year. So just, if you're part of the 10% that doesn't see, I mean, you're the exception to the rule. So a lot of them, they just focus on just acquisition. Like I'm no longer an advocate of starting businesses. I'm just not, because it's just growing it from something to this. It's very difficult. I mean, as you saw, he took him 26 years before he sold it. 20 something years. I honestly didn't hear about Supreme personally until like in 2010s. I never really heard of it. So we're talking about 10, 15 years where the average person never heard of it. And you still work on it every single day, grinding it out, probably not making any money on it. Losing money in probably a lot of respects on a brand. But he held it for 25 years. And if you're willing to do that for 25 years, every single day, minute by minute, live your brand, you can really do something special in this world. And I hope you all can learn from that. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm more of an advocate for buying businesses. I mean, there's a reason these big corporations are buying businesses. They understand organic growth is very difficult. I mean, I say it all the time. You get your board of executives, board of directors, board of advisors, and get them people who have been doing what you want to do for 20, 30 years. You can have a experienced lawyer, experienced accountant, and then you can go and start buying these different brands. I mean, I say it a lot. I mean, this is probably the best time to ever be in the business of buying a business. I mean, the baby boomer generation is retired. They own the majority of businesses, not only in America, but in the world. And they're getting ready to retire, but they don't have a succession plan because none of their children want to own their businesses. A lot of people don't own cool businesses. They may own a convenience store, or they may own a restaurant, or they may own a gas station. They may own a laundromat. They may own some things something that's not really cool and sexy, but it's profitable and it's making money. And you can go and buy that business, and then you can buy more of those businesses just like it, and then you can consolidate them. You can reduce redundancies. Instead of having multiple presidents or multiple CEOs, it can be one CEO. I mean, you can cut costs and things such as that, and you can really do something special because, as we're starting to see, I mean, people just don't have succession plans. They just don't know what to do with their businesses because they don't have them to give to you anyway. And when there's a market like this, you can potentially buy it. You can do SBA loans. Talk to multiple bankers. They just want a 650 credit score and 10% down, and you and your couple of friends can get together to get that 650 credit score or to get that 10% down or whatever it is to help you get that loan. We also do seller financing, where pretty much you just take over the business and start paying every single month to the actual person, to the seller of the business. I mean, there's many ways you can do it. You don't have to have a lot of money to buy a business. These are just some of the methods you can do. But that's pretty much all I have for this video. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. We talked about a lot in this video. Legal implications, like if you talk about letter of intent, purchase agreement, different contracts involved in buying a business. I also talked about board of directors, a board of directors agreement, and many things that you can do from a legal perspective when it comes to the world of fashion. But it's an emphasis on understanding that fashion is an ever-growing business. It's never going to stop growing. People are going to need clothes. People always want the coolest clothes because trends change and old trends will come new again. And especially if you're younger and you have that eye for fashion, or if you're older, you have an eye for fashion, you can do that. You don't necessarily have to be young because people get older, they tend to dress more conservative. And you can make suits, you can make nice clothes for different professionals. So there's ample room for whatever it be. I mean, whatever. You can make traditional clothes that people wear in their different cultures. There's many things you can do when it comes to fashion. And there's room for a lot of people. But fashion is a tough business. It's a very tough business. It's not an easy business. But I hope you all have learned something from this video. Been episode 73. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we're one step closer to 1,000 episodes. Thanks.